Hello everyone, these are some Ryzeal combos without summoning Ryzeal Detonator. The first one is gonna start as always, normalize. As always, you're just gonna use the effect, and because we are playing pure for this one, we're summoning Sword, and we are adding the Ryzeal. Here, we're gonna summon just the Eds, and the EDC that we're going to send is going to be Duo Drive. We don't send the Detonator because it's a light and we're gonna try to play around bestials as much as possible. Now, which monsters do we use to summon the Duo Drive? We always going to need to use the Sword because we're always trying to make more fires than lights in the graveyard. And here, depending on what you're projecting to, like if you're afraid of having a good defense monster, if the Duo Drive gets negated, you all left the Jets. But if your priorities are more like an attack monster, you leave the Ice, but you always use the Sword. So for this one, for example, we summon the Duo Drive. We use the first effect to attach this one. And if the Duo Drive resolves, we send the two fires that we have here. Now, as always in a pure version, or as usually always, like we add the field spell and the quick spell. There's an argument to add in these kind of scenarios the Sword instead, because plugin is a better top deck than the Sword, and if you add the plugin, you're gonna have it at the bottom, so you're never gonna top deck it unless you shuffle the deck again. But the fact that the plugin is going to add another material to the Duo Drive is going to be always more helpful, because for example, if you need to use the cross in your own turn and attach these Eds, for the nets for your opponent's turn, you're gonna be forced to use the Detonator material if you special summon it, or to just not use the cross at all because you don't have any way to use it. So the plugin is gonna be a better option always. Like here, you use it to summon the Sword, and we take advantage of the second effect to add another Sword. You always try to fill the graveyard with fire monsters as much as possible here. Now, with these two, we're gonna make... Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, like because of this whole explanation. When you summon the Edge, as usual, you add the note. My bad there. Okay, so here we summon the Dugares. This, like, oh, you're gonna draw and look and dig for non-engine, blah blah blah. Yes, but it's the Dugares also works in a way that it's gonna fill your graveyard to have a target for note after you use the Sword, your only available monster, to special summon it, which also going to compensate not using the Edge when you activate the effect of Duo Drive, because if you use it instead of the Duo Drive that you detach, here you won't have that problem, like node will be live, but you will be exposing yourself to the bestials, etc. before you being able to activate the cross and being able to negate it, etc. So there, like, you expose yourself too much, and here Dugares will solve a lot of the problems that you will have in this kind of route of combo. And plus you're getting the non-engine too, like you're drawing the two cards here. Okay, and depending of what your hand is, like you discard something, right? Like for example, here we're gonna discuss the cross, for example. Dugares will also fulfill the cost for the node, so there's a lot of advantage that you can take by summoning the Dugares in this kind of route. Like here, because you have a fire again, you don't have to expose yourself to any bestial. And here, obviously, a lot of people will be summoning the Detonator. However, I would like to consider you a lot of situations where Detonator, at least for the time being, is not kinda the best option going first. Like a lot of people are playing the Metatronius, a lot of people are getting obsessed with playing talents, etc. Right? So how about instead of summon the Detonator here, because I don't know, you know you're facing against a Fiend something. Like you can just, instead of summon the Detonator, you can summon the Dweller here. Now, if that Fiend whatever is really heavy in Metatronius or the talents, you're gonna activate this in standby or draw phase. You're gonna prevent them for activate like at least 2 effects in the graveyard, which means this at least will be 2 interruptions. At least you're still gonna have a negate monster with the cross here, and you're gonna be able to negate any monster effect without activating actually any monster effect by yourself. So you're still gonna be playing around talents, and after that you're still gonna have a lot of cards in the hand. You will be having, in theory, I think 6, like 4 because you use just the eyes. Then the draw of the cross, you have 5, then you draw 2 because of the Dugares, and you discard 1. Yeah, you will have 6 cards that your opponent don't know anything about in your hand, plus the Dweller and the Duo Drive. Now, imagine that your opponent is not a guarantee Mitsurugi, Fiendsmith, or whatever, like something that depends a lot of the graveyard, right? Like you're facing, for example, a pure mirror match Ryzeal. You can just summon the Baguska in defense, which is gonna be the same logic. They don't have a target for this one unless they play their own Baguska, right? But it's not also good against the Ryzeal matchups, like the Blue Eyes matchup, to prevent anything but the Link monster and whatever you're facing in your locals, right? There's always good to know that there's this kind of lines for you to play, because there's always, and there's, like, as I always like to say, anything can happen in locals, so the more you know about your deck, the better, right? Okay, the second combo that I'm going to show you is if you get Purulia in draw or standby phase, and you only have your Ice Ryzeal. So you give them the 1 draw, and here you're gonna special summon the node. Like, this is very important because we need to guarantee this guy in the graveyard without giving our opponent extra draws, right? Like only the 1. So here we use the Duo Drive, and we're going to add the Field Spell and the Quick Spell. Now, here there's 2 different priorities that you may need. Like, if you want to guarantee a draw for the cross, depending on your hand, you can sacrifice the idea of playing around Nibiru or Bestials and cause the node once you revive it with the plugin. Like, because if, like, we do this, we revive the node, and because of the plugin we can attach something that is not a light to the Duo Drive, right? And we can activate here then the cross, and we will have the negate protection here, right? But if you do that, you need to cause something from the hand and revive the Ice Ryzeal in a way that when you make Exit Summon, you are not gonna have a Ryzeal card in the graveyard to guarantee the protection while you keep doing this. The other way to guarantee the draw is by costing the Dual Drive instead of something random from your hand. So you can have also like food for the Detonator, you can have the draw of the cross too. Now, why are you going to expose yourself to all that kind of scenarios when you can try to floodgate your opponent for 1 turn and make these 2, make, for example, the Baguska, and have the negation from the cross for your opponent's turn. 2 disruptions without exposing yourself to talents, which is something that your opponent almost guarantees is using when, for example, you're facing that guy that just put the Mulcharmies and a lot of Orb Breakers when it's going second. Also, something funny about this is that in the scenarios when you want to make the Dweller, like the Fiendsmith, the Mitsurugis, the whatever, like the Mermels, if you decide to make the Dweller and it's convenient to do so, you have also the plus that you can actually use the effect on this turn, always detaching the non-light Ryzeal, And then in your own turn, you're still gonna have two non-bestiable cards to return and draw. Like, so that's also something to consider, and that's something that I just wanted to share with you all. Like, to let you know, this is not a Detonator deck, this is a rank 4 deck. So there's a lot of possible scenarios that you can do at whatever happened in your locals, regionals, and even YCSs. So if you like it, please just let me know any questions you have and share it. Thank you very much.